Mr. Yohn, care to make any opening statements?
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what you just heard were theatrics. Theatrics, something one puts forth in order to obtain and persuade you to obtain a conviction in a trial. I will concede that some things Ms. Keck here stated do in fact ring true. However, they're not as she stated them. There are many discrepancies in this case that have yet to be finalized. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today this is going to be very hard for all of us. We have people here in the stands. It's going to be extremely hard for them. It's going to be extremely hard for you. It's extremely hard for myself. I'm the one here on these claims. However, these claims are not quite true. And I will show you that today. I apologize for having you awesome people here today. Yes, it's a duty of citizenship to have to serve on a jury every so often. There's not many smiles today. However, I did see some yesterday. I appreciate those smiles. That has brought a light to my soul as I've been stuck here in this county jail, tormented for the last 19 months. I ask that you forgive my appearance. This is not normally me. I normally have hair. I did not expect you to feel sorry for me by any means. I also understand you'd much rather be enjoying your summer at home rather than being in this courtroom. However, the powers that compel have brought you here today. I once heard that trials are based on persuasion. Who has the best persuasion in their words? Who can be persuaded by the persuadee? Words like persuasion, I believe they're negative myself. They're kind of like manipulation, very negative. It's negative in my insight to persuade somebody, especially when you want to persuade somebody as to the charges here today and not have the proof needed to present those theatrics and not have the proof needed to present those theatrics. To persuade one's life away. As Ms. Keck stated, these sick in herself. If they were to truly happen, they're sick, they're demented, they're horrendous, horrid. Persuasion, I see that in the same sense as to persuade something that is not true is also sick. These are demented crimes. Ladies and gents, I'm more in agreement with the word logical. To be logical seems to be more so valuable than to persuade some. Also, the meaning of logical, to expect because of what has gone before, what has happened in prior arrangements, prior times, based on or using logic. The definition of logic, correct reasoning, or the science of it. What is expected by the working of cause and effect. The working of cause and effect. Today and throughout this trial, you'll see that the cause does not hold the effect it should. The alleged cause does not hold the effect it should. I'm sure a lot of you are logical human beings. I myself base my life on being logical, being honest, being value to logic and honesty. It's my favorite pastime, present and future. Today I ask that those of you here be logical, not just the jurors who have the ability to judge this situation, but everybody. Logical is I would rather people be. Today I will show you a lot of things that are not logical. Throughout this trial, I will show you a lot of things that are not logical. Persuasion is not logical. I myself, personally, I promise not to attempt to persuade you, nor will I manipulate you. I do not find pleasure in doing such. As stated yesterday, I'm a pro se defendant. I'm held to the same standards as any attorney here today. I do not expect you to feel sorry for me because I'm a pro se defendant. I expect you to take it at what you valued it as, along with agreeing with law, taking the law into consideration. They say an opening statement is made to acquaint the finder of facts with yourself or with the claims and what you intend to prove. That's exactly what I do today. Myself, I would say proof is a rare thing to come by these days. No one has absolute proof except for, per se, you have these cameras here in this room today, and I can prove that you are here today. There's a lot of claims placed forth that do not have an effect that coincides with them. I intend to show and prove you that today and throughout this trial. What I also want to prove you are blatant lies. Incredible and impossible happenings. We all know what incredible and impossible means. Impossible means not possible. Credible means it's not credible. I also intend to prove you improper procedure, coincidences. Throughout this trial, you'll see some of the most major coincidences you have ever seen in your lives. And they are established, and I'm sure some of the witnesses will attest to them. There are major coincidences in this case. As stated, I talked about logical. I intend to show you that these things do not follow the definition of logic. I will show you what coercion, manipulation, and deceit is. I will show certain persons think it is absolutely funny to be vindictive, to lie, to place forth claims, and that would be from the horse's mouth. I will prove to you reason for false testimony from some who may or may not testify throughout this adventure. I'll show you how other law enforcement think these events that are alleged to have happened are quite odd themselves, stating such in an indirect way. That is law enforcement, and I intend to prove that to you. I will show any of the claims and things placed forth by all here today, witnesses and the claimant herself, just do not add up or coincide with each other. The prosecution intends to prove to those of you that a 77-year-old woman has been brutally beat, battered, sexually assaulted is the proper pronunciation or the proper term usage in trials. They intend to prove to you that a 77-year-old woman was home invaded, kidnapped, hijacked, thrown downstairs at 77 years old. Thrown downstairs. Some of you are young. If you were thrown downstairs, what would that damage do to you? Thrown downstairs in a violent manner. The prosecution intends to prove to you that a 77-year-old woman was thrown downstairs in a violent manner. All these claims are violent. They're sick. They're demented. All of these being brutal, violent, heinous. Those are the titles of alleged claims the judge has placed forth, as Ms. Keck has also stated, what I've just relayed to you, and more. Some of these descriptions you will hear throughout this trial. I aim to present to you, those of you here today, and I aim to present to those of you from the mouth who spoke them, these claims, and that they are not true. What's better than the person who spoke them? Attorney here, Mr. Jones and Ms. Keck, I believe they both have great intentions. I'm sure they do. However, they're here to attest to something they do not know themselves. they do not have full and 100% proof of. They're just doing their jobs. I don't expect you to hold it against them. I only expect you to be fair. I spoke of, at the beginning, this being very hard for me. Obviously it is. I'm the defendant here today. It's my life in jeopardy. It's my life on the line. Not only is it hard for me, I spoke of it being hard for, well, everybody here. I'm sure those of you in the jury today do not want to hear the sickening claims or have to go through this. All we can do is take what we have and place weight on it from our own views. Mainly you people here today, you jurors. Today you will be presented with what some call evidence. Some of these presentations are very odd and would lead you to say, guilty, he's guilty. These are what I spoke of when I said I'd show you coincidences. Those coincidences are by far some of the biggest coincidences one will ever see in a lifetime, most never seeing such. Never having the chance to. Why? Because there are coincidences that are extremely rare. There are things that just don't happen. A believer of coincidences is what I intend to make you throughout this trial. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, devious crimes, they are what I myself would call the worst, the very worst. I think they're worse than murder. That's my point of view. As if they were true also. I do not mean to offend anyone here today. However, they simply are not true. My little brother used to run to mother and say, "Mom, BB hit me." BB was my sister. He used to say, "BB hit me." Mom would say, "Well, my lovely young man, where are the marks to prove such?" Well, Mom, show me the marks. He could not show any marks. Mother would say, "I can't tell where the marks are." True story. Come to find out, my brother only had the remote taken from him. Scooby-Doo was his favorite. He would watch it end on end for hours. During them times when my brother would make them claims, we would all come to find out in the end that he had just simply walked away from the TV. Sis picked up the remote and he wanted the TV back. The tells he was telling, you will see that today, here, and throughout this trial, there are major tales told. Tales that are tall. Simply very tall tales. Then, in reference to my brother, the lack of marks gave my mother reasonable doubt. Today, I intend to prove an extreme amount of reasonable doubt. Throughout this trial, I will prove extreme amount of reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt, they say, is any idea or condition that interferes with a person.
Grounds.
All right. The jury is left to find reasonable doubt on their own.
Sustained.
Jury, throughout this week, there will be all kinds of words placed forth. Strong words, educated words. Words some of us may not understand. There will be displays. There will be what many call evidence, and there will be testimonies. I will show you, and if you may, prove to you how things are not as they say. Not as they seem. How most just are not possible. Also known as impossible. As I stated earlier, I intend to be logical. I will do just that. I humbly ask that you bear with me throughout this process. Bear with all of us. Those of the court, those of the prosecution, and everybody. Recesses, intermissions, just please bear with us. And be honest, as I'm sure you all can be, and be fair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young.